Dijon B writes, "Hello AMC movie talkers, keep up the awesomeness. John is always reiterating how he hates prequels and that prequels tend to be bad, but that's not necessarily the case. The Hobbit was a prequel and was great. X-Men First Class was a prequel and was great. Monsters University is a prequel and is a fair and solid film." Good distinction. While there have been bad prequels, there have also been good and efficient ones. Granted, sequels can be horrible as well. So, do you guys think that the nature and essence of prequels is initially good, but they are just executed poorly? Or do you think that the essential idea of a prequel is bad and that filmmakers should stay away from them?
I gotta clarify a couple things here. Number one, I am always talking about how I don't really generally like the idea of prequels. I've never said I hated prequels, and I've certainly never said they're always bad. But you're right, I have said generally I don't like the idea, I'd rather them do something else. Let's talk about The Hobbit for a second. The Hobbit is not a prequel. The Hobbit was written first, okay? So The Hobbit was written first, they made the movie later, but The Hobbit was written before Lord of the Rings. Let's talk about X-Men First Class. Is it a very good movie? Yes, X-Men First Class, in my opinion, was a very good movie. But at what cost? They had to basically tread all over whatever continuity they had in that universe. Like, for instance, in X-Men 3, you know, Professor Xavier and Magneto were still supposed to be friends in their late 40s, early 50s, visiting a young Jean Grey. They've built their school together, blah, blah, blah. Well, X-Men First Class, being a prequel, in order to have some freedom to make a good story, they had to crap all over that continuity. Now they separated as friends much, much earlier, and other things as well. The problem with prequels that I have generally is that, number one, you're in a situation where you know certain things are going to happen and you know certain things aren't. And I don't like knowing that going in. Like even with Monsters University, which I liked a great deal, okay, I know, you know, Mike and Sully are not going to stop being friends. I know that somehow at the end, by the end, they're working at Monsters Inc. and blah, 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 blah. And with prequels, you know that. So in doing a prequel, you either have to be pretty predictable with some elements that you're going to do, you have to crap over existing continuity, and then there's these other elements, and that's why I say I generally don't like the idea of prequels. I would prefer them doing something else. But like X-Men First Class, like Monsters University, yes, you can make something good. Absolutely you can. It's just I think they could have made something better with a sequel to Monsters, Inc. I think they could have made something better out of X-Men, but we have what we have. Ryan, you and I have never talked about this topic before. What's your stance on prequels? Do you get excited about the sound of a prequel or turned off by it? Or different?
I keep my mind open to prequels just because if you're going to bring something, you're going to introduce a new layer to the story of something that exists that we love, then I'm open to it. You're right, there is a certain level of expectation and you're already kind of predicting where it's going to wind up going because you know the outcome of certain things.
Right.
But if you handle something like, if you take a look at something like Prometheus, okay?
Right.
Not a good movie. Let's just put that on the table. It's not a good film. However, the idea of telling something that's within the same universe that's set before the events of Alien, that's a cool idea. That's the kind of prequel I like. Something that's going to expand the universe, introduce new story elements, and give you a little bit more insight as to what the outcome will be later on. That's cool. We're seeing a lot of prequels on television right now, like with Hannibal and Bates Motel, and I think both of those are excellent. Hannibal more so than Bates, but those are also repurposing and, like you said, kind of treading over the continuity that comes later on.
Right.
Like I said, I'm completely open to prequels. It just really depends on the angle that's going to be chosen. And like X-Men First Class, you can't trample over the continuity because I have no idea where they're going to go with the next one.
Yeah.
And I think the next one is just going to be Bryan Singer trying to like right some wrongs and try to figure out how to make those continuities work with time travel of all things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm open to prequels. I'm a game. I mean, look at the Batman movies. Batman Begins kind of was.
That was
I mean,
like a
both
reboot,
in the
though,
reboot
right? That was
and
starting over.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
No, the one great example of use of prequelness was in prequelness. I just made up a word. The prequelness, which wasn't actually even a prequel, but elements of it were. Let's say Godfather 2, one of the great American movies ever made. At least 1/3 of that movie was prequel, but the movie in itself wasn't, and that was brilliant. So,
what's the difference between prequels and flashbacks then?
Yeah,
that's true.
Because Godfather 2 is, to me, a sequel of flashbacks.
You're so deep. I have no answer for that.
Let me drop a prequel on you that I do love. I love Amityville 2: The Possession,
okay.
which is a prequel to the Amityville Horror,
Oh
which sets up the
Right.
family the family that gets murdered before the family that moves into the house in Amityville Horror takes place. But the continuity on that whole thing is a little wonky. But
still a great example.
Still, yeah.
Maybe Jaws 5 could be a prequel.
Just a wee shark.
Just putting,
a wee shark
just
swimming
putting
in
it
the
out there.
ocean.
Finding Jaws.
Finding Jaws, I love it.
If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free, and we bring you all the latest movie news as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk Show. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, where you can find out about all the latest prizes, giveaways, and special contests.